Create your dream romantic summer dress with the Camellia Dress sewing pattern, a soft feminine design inspired by cottage gardens and vintage silhouettes, featuring a structured bodice, delicate tie straps, and a floaty layered skirt. This dress is perfect for warm days, holidays, and everyday wear with a romantic twist. Shopping list. You will need the main fabric, and please check the table for the quantities that you need. A lining fabric, 50 centimeters for all sizes, 40 centimeters or a 16-inch invisible zipper, and 50 centimeters of medium weight fusing. The seam allowance for this dress is 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch. Cut all the pattern pieces as per the instructions on the pattern pieces, including the lining and the fusing. Add the fusing to the wrong side of the main fabric bodice panels. Please note the lower cup doesn't require fusing. Start with the centre front bodice, right sides to right sides, and attach to the side panels. Repeat the step, but with the side back panels. Then do the same with the back pieces. Follow these steps also for the bodice lining. Sew all pieces together. Repeat these steps for the lining pieces. Press the seams flat in one direction. Use the same direction for the lining. This will prevent it being bulky. Lay out the cups right sides up, matching the centre notches and the side seams. Pin the edges and ease the rest of the fabric around the curves. Sew around both cups, easing the fabric. Make small snips into the seam allowance curve of the cups. With the seams facing towards the lower cup, top stitch 4 mm from the seam onto the lower cup. Repeat also for the cup lining. Press well using a tailor's ham if you have one. With right sides together, pin the straps. There is 4 for the front and 4 for the back. Sew around the shoulder ties, pivoting the needle at the point. With the needle still in the fabric, lift the machine foot and pivot to change the direction. You will need to do this twice for both points. Trim the edges of the shoulder ties, leaving 5mm seam allowance, and trim off the corner. Repeat for all straps. Turn all of the straps to the right side. Use a loop turner to make it easier if you have one. Then, with a blunt point, like the end of a paintbrush, gently push out the corners of the straps. Press well. Carefully roll the fabric between your fingers to find the very edge, and then press. Repeat the process for all straps. Match notch on lower shoulder ties with the seam on the back of the bodice. Base stitched in place. Do the same for the cuts and the shorter ties, matching the notches. Right sides to right side, put the cup lining and the main fabric cups together. Sew along the top edge. Sew both curves first and then sew the straight bit last. Clip the corners and make small snips in the seam allowance around the curve. Turn to the right side and press well along the top edge. You may also wish to understitch. Making sure all seams and notches on the main fabric and the lining are matched up. Base stitch 5 mm from the edge around the cup, joining the main fabric to the lining. Do 2 rows of gather stitch between the 2 notches, one at 5 mm and one at 7 mm from the edge. Match notches on the underbust edges with the top of each edge of the finished cup. When attaching, make sure you leave room for the seam allowance along the top. Then gently pull gathered stitches and match the middle notch with the underbust seam. Gently ease the cup around the curve of the underbust edges. You may have to slightly stretch the curve of the underbust, but it will fit perfectly. Sew slightly less than the seam allowance. Do the same with both cups. Start by pinning the cups out of the way so they don't get caught in the seam. Place the bodice lining over the top of the main fabric. First pin along the top section, matching all the seams. Then pin around the bust curve like when adding the cups. Do one side at a time. Sew now with the normal seam allowance. Now pin the other side in the same way as before, making sure that the cups are not caught in the seam. Sew the section you have just pinned. Finely sew across the middle section. Sewing the centre section can be very fiddly because of the cups. Careful not to catch them in the seam. Before turning to the right side, trim off the corners to prevent bulk. Turn to the right side. You may need to use a blunt point to push out the middle section, but press well around the top edge. Understitch on the lining, starting roughly 2 cm from the centre back to as close to the cup as you can comfortably get. Now it's time to construct the skirt. Attach side seams of skirt layer 1, making sure that the notch is at the bottom. Pin layer 2 down one side. Also do the same for layer 3. Overlock the seams of the skirt if you have an overlocker. If you don't, just use a 1 cm seam allowance. Press seams flat on all skirt panels. Overlock the top edge of skirt layers 1, 2 and 3 and the lower edge of skirt layers 1 and 2, like shown in the photos here. Measure 3 cm from the overlocked edge on the skirt panels, layer 2 and 3. This line is also shown on the pattern piece. Fold over the top edge to the marked line and press. This means you have 1.5 centimeters from the fold to the overlocked edge. Do 2 rows of gather stitch along the top of the skirt panels. For skirt panel, layer 1, gather stitch 5mm and 7mm from the edge. For skirt layers 2 and 3, gather stitch 1 cm and 1.3 cm from the folded edge. Start by gathering skirt layer 3 by gently pulling the thread. Start at either end of the piece and work towards the middle. Pin the centre seam together. Pin together at the centre, matching the overlocked edge of the fold with the edge of the bottom of the panel, making sure the gathering is even. Pin along the whole edge. Top stitch along the top of the ruffle, making sure to catch the bottom of the previous layer. Repeat the previous step for attaching the second layer to the top layer of the skirt. Gather the top layer to roughly the same length as the bodice waist. Attach the main fabric bodice to the skirt by putting right sides together, matching the side seams of the skirt with the side seams of the bodice. Also make sure that the gathering is even. Fold the skirt in half, right sides to right sides, matching the notches at the back. Pin from the lower edge to the notch for the zipper and sew. Mark 1.3 centimeters from the top edge on both back pieces. It will be roughly 3 millimeters from the stitch line. This is where the plastic zipper stop will be placed. Place the zipper down one side of the centre back, on the right side of the fabric. Pin in place, and if you need to hand tack, and then remove the pins before sewing on the machine. Tip: stitch the zipper starting at the top to bottom, as it helps the zip stay flat on both sides. Making sure zipper teeth are rolled out flat, then position the zipper foot, making sure that the needle will sew as close as possible to the zipper teeth. Use an invisible zipper foot if you have one. If you don't have one, then I would suggest using a regular zipper foot. Close the zip and mark on the zip tape where the waistband lines up. Open and pin down the other side, firstly matching the marks with the waistband. Sew this half of the zip in the same way as the previous side. Sew this side of the zip, making sure to pull the teeth open. With the zipper open, flip the lining over so that both the lining and the main fabric are right sides to right sides. Pin well. Using a zipper foot, sew down the facing side, sandwiching the zipper between the main fabric and the facing. Turn to the right side. Attach the lining to the waist seam allowance. Face stitch to stop it moving. For my dress, I decided to use a rolled hem foot to hem it. You can alternatively overlock the hem and then turn it over and top stitch. If you don't have an overlocker, then I would suggest using a pin hem. Give your dress one final press and enjoy wearing it. I would love to see what you have made. Share your dress online with the hashtag AmyCameliaDress.